So right now, Esu Is Not Satan is being celebrated in over 55 countries all over the world, including UK, Mexico, America. And last year was the biggest ever that we've ever done, because we actually did it at a very significant place, at the Fela African Shrine. And it was massive because the whole place was filled up.
Welcome to Spirit and Liberation, the podcast where we bridge the sacred and the political, where ancestral wisdom meets the front lines of organized movement. Every episode, we bring you into conversation with spiritual practitioners, political organizers, and healers who are weaving ancestral wisdom into the work of liberation. We'll discuss everything from community-based care systems to the often unseen spiritual frameworks that accompany our movements. Whether you're a longtime student or initiate of African and Indigenous spiritual practices, or you're just starting to explore these paths, this space is for you. I am your host, and my name is Jeanette Charles Marquez, and I am an organizer, historian, and Ifá practitioner who is deeply committed to liberation. Today, we are in conversation with Ifá Benushola Awomide Popola, a traditional soul singer, filmmaker, author, historian, teacher, and photographer dedicated to preserving and sharing the wisdom of Ifá. As the founder of World of Ifá, Ifá Benushola explores Yoruba spirituality through music, film, and education to provide solutions to human challenges. He is also one of the movement builders behind the Esu Is Not Satan campaign, a global movement to reclaim the true essence of Eshu, challenging colonial distortions and reconnecting the diaspora with Yoruba traditions. In this episode, he'll speak to us about this campaign, as well as many of the core principles and concepts of the Ifá tradition. Aburaboye.
Yeah, Aboye Washishe Obuato.
And welcome to Spirit and Liberation. We're so excited to speak with you today because your work touches upon so many important and powerful issues. And you're not just preserving and documenting Ifá, but also actively challenging and reshaping narratives. One testament of this is your work with the campaign Esu Is Not Satan. And before we jump into what inspired you to launch this movement, can we take a step back and can you share with us who and what is Eshu?
So, hello everyone. My name is Ifá Benushola Awomide Popola. I am an historian. I'm also a counseling psychologist. Yeah, I studied counseling psychologist in my master's degree. And I'm also a writer. Maybe I don't like to call myself a musician, rather an archive keeper, because those songs are not just music. They are important information that needs to be kept. Yeah, so when we talk about Eshu in the Yoruba cosmology, Eshu is regarded as the karmatic force of the universe. In Yoruba religious system, we believe in what we call balance, and we believe in duality. Once there is up, there's going to be down. Once there is good, there will be bad. Once we have light, there must be darkness. Once we have male, there must be female. So we believe in balance, which means once you have left, you must have right. And Eshu is the one that is in charge of that balance. He is the one who makes sure that the world is balanced. So, and that is why we call him the karmatic force of the universe, meaning he is always there to make sure your karma is always following you around. Whenever you do something good, he is ready to make sure you get the reward for that good. Whenever you do something bad also, he will be there to make sure you will get the result. Because for every action, there is a reaction or a repercussion. So you should be ready to receive the reaction of your action. So that is what Eshu is. There is a lot of definition for Eshu. Eshu is also the intermediary between humans and Olodumare. Eshu is the intermediary between humans and all the Ajogun, the negative forces. Eshu is the intermediary, even sometimes the intermediary between Iyami and humans and every other Irumale. So he is regarded as one of the most important deity that we have in Yoruba land.
Can you explain to us as well? You mentioned that Eshu can be an intermediary between the Iyami and the Arumile. For folks who might be learning this for the first time, can you explain what those forces are as well?
The forces. So now when I said forces, negative forces or anything like that, for example, now when we go for consultation and they said, oh, this Ifa foresees Ire, or Ifa says, oh, there is death while I'm wandering around your life, you need to offer Ebo to remove that debt. A lot of people will believe that, oh, what Ebo am I going to do? Oh, you do this, and you give it to Eshu. So many people feel, Eshu is the one that wants to bring the death to me. No, death itself is a spirit. It's also a messenger of Olodumare, because to us, the Yoruba people, we do not necessarily see death as when the Christians will say, they will say death is the wage of sin. We don't believe that. We believe death is good. Death is necessary and it is inevitable. It is not the wages of your sin. It is just necessary. It is inevitable. It is important. It will happen. And that is why Ifa says that if we do not die, we are going to look like a swamp, a muddy water that does not flow to the left, does not flow to the right, just remain at the same spot. And what do you do with that kind of water? It is useless. That is how we are as human if we do not die. Because we need to die to be reborn. You need to let go of your old clothes to receive a new one. And that is why. So death, when death is now wandering around you or something, but at the same time also, there are some death that it is not yet time for that person to die. They will now tell you, oh, you need to offer Ebo, give offering to Eshu. When you give that offering to Eshu, Eshu will now take that Ebo, that materials of everything that you have used to go and give death. That, oh, this person has offered this Ebo and has asked me to give you this, and this. So death might be like, oh, how did the person know that I was coming? But divination revealed it. So that is, and it could be sickness. It could be contention. It could be tribulations. It could also be wealth, favor, success, compatible spouse, and all of that. It is Eshu. When you give the Ebo to Eshu, he will take it to the right channel for that thing to come or for that thing to be rejected.
Can you define Ebo, Iyami, and Irumale for people who are listening?
Okay. Now, when we talk about the Iyamis, a lot of people mistakenly translated them to be witches. I do not believe the Iyami are witches. The Iyami are also one of the emissaries of Olodumare. They are one of the messengers of Olodumare. And also, they are also to create a balance. Or no, not balance. Let me say checkmates. For those who want to misbehave or trying to not keep the world balanced, they are always there to make sure they checkmate you. They are like the police of the universe. So their function is to make sure there is balance in the world. That is what they do. And that is why you will see that Iyami is one of those energies that you don't get initiated to. It is hereditary. Or someone can just look at you and, I like you. Let me give you the energy of the hand. They will pass it to you. So there is nothing like getting initiated or doing, no. So it is an energy. They are everywhere, all over the world. And their function is to make sure there is balance. There is checkmate. When someone is trying to misbehave, you checkmate the person and right that path. And when we talk about Ebo is the key to answering prayers. When we talk about Ebo in Africa or in Yoruba land today, a lot of people have bastardized the meaning of Ebo. No, I don't do Ebo. Ebo is evil, this and that. But one thing they fail to understand is that when you are present at where they are doing Ebo, you will realize that from the beginning till the end, everything that the Babalawo will be chanting is prayer, Iwure. They will be chanting Iwure. But It is different from you just sitting and praying, oh, Olodumare, I want you to bless this person. I want you to give this person this favor. No. They are praying, they are doing the wuri, but they are backing it with some esoteric words, some powerful Ifá verses that is going to make that prayer come to pass quickly. That is able. The key to answering prayers, to answering a wuri, and also coupled with all of the other materials. Yeah, e-goat, she-goat, this. And so all of this energy will come together to do that. And also can also be defined as the art of feeding humanity and nature. After drawing all of the airball, you put all the materials together, all the esoteric words, chanting, incantation, and all of that, and you take it to Esu. When you take it to Esu, some of the goats that you used, you will kill some of them. When you kill, the people around, they will cook and they will eat it. You have fed humanity through your airball. Also, the one that you take to Esu, some goats will go there to eat. Flies will step on it. They will eat and all of that. You also fed nature. Because airball works with energy. Once you do the airball, it is not going to abracadabra and just disappear. No, it doesn't work that way. The energy would have picked whatever they need from it. Let me give you an example. In my household, sometimes whenever we use animal, we like to confirm from Ifá, should we kill or not? And if Ifá say don't kill, you leave the animal. Funnily, whenever we use an animal and we leave it, in the next 2-3 days, the animal will die. They don't survive. So there is a woman we used to buy all these goats from. So whenever we go to buy goat from her, we use it and all of that. At some point, some boys in our temple, they got smart. I won't say smart, baby. It's bad. What they were doing was bad. So they got smart that whenever they went to buy the goats and they take it home, they will remove the feather, the skin, the hair of the goat, put it in the airball because Ifá says don't kill it. So once they remove the hair, they will return it to the woman. We are not buying again. They said we should not use this and that. So whenever they take it back, the woman will take it, give them the money back. The goat will die the next day or in 2 days. Later on, the woman find out. Like, how? Why is it that whenever they return these goats, they would die the next day or something? One day, they now went back there again to do the same thing. The moment they took the goat, they now came back in the evening. Man, don't bring it here. You think I don't know what you are doing? You guys will. And that's how she knew. So that shows, the efficacy of those things. When you remove, you already offer that animal as able. They are eventually going to die because the energy had come to pick them already. So all that you have left is just the meat for consumption. So that is able. And when we talk about Irumole are the messengers of Olodumare. Nobody gave birth to them and they did not die. They came at a certain point in time, make the world habitable, perform their function diligently, and they left. That is what Irumole are, and we have a lot of them like Orunmila, Ogun, Shango, Oshun, Obatala, and Eshu, and the rest.
Well, I think that's a really great transition to the campaign that you started and thinking about what inspired you to launch the movement of Esu Is Not Satan. Was there a particular moment when you knew that this work had to be done?
We've always known, and let me make a correction. The movement was started by Oluwoshola Popola. He started it. And he had been talking about it since, I think, 2008 or something. He had a lecture in Trinidad and Tobago that year. And, he had been saying it and all of that. And when we now realize that this man has been saying this thing, I did history and diplomatic studies. I studied history, and now I got to discover, oh, okay, this is Esu. This is Satan. When you check them, you will realize that they are not the same. They do not have any kind of connection or anything. So now, what are we going to do? I think the best thing for us to do is to start a campaign. It was Oluwusalagbade who even gave us the date, December 24. And I love the date because it is a day to Christmas. You know, while we were praising Esu, the next day they will be condemning Esu. So before they do their condemnation, we are already praising. Mm-hmm. So that is how it started. So Oluwusalagbade Popola Oluwola started it. The whole movement. That man is...
Yes, definitely. Can you talk a little bit about just what the premise is and how it's organized? So what are some of the activities that take place? How many people participate? Where? I've seen things outside of Nigeria as well. So if you can just elaborate a little bit more.
So we started the Esu Is Not Satan campaign 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the idea was work for Esu. We print clothes, write Esu Is Not Satan, and we walk around the community. The first year that we started, that's what we did. And after a while, we now started including branding of cars. There was a year we branded over 15 or 20 cars. Esu Is Not Satan. The whole body, not just the front and the back, the whole body of the car. Branded everything. Esu Is Not Satan. It was grand. BBC took it. They covered the event that year. I think that was 2018 or thereabouts. And after another year, we got a big caravan with music and all of that. And we started dancing around everywhere. So right now, Esu Is Not Satan is being celebrated in over 55 countries all over the world, including UK, Mexico, America, all over the world. It is being celebrated. And last year on was the biggest ever that we've ever done, because we actually did it at a very significant place, at the Fela African Shrine. Yeah, we did it there, and it was massive because the whole place was filled up. We never expected that kind of crowd. It was a lot of people. Seun Kuti came, Yeni Kuti came. We had a lot of celebrity, even all the clothes for us, did the campaigns. And yeah, so last year on was a breakthrough for us. And
that's so cool.
It was really good.
For a lot of folks who might listen to the podcast, we have folks who are practitioners of Ifá. We have folks who are not practitioners of Ifá. And then not everyone has had the privilege to come to Nigeria. So can you just explain a little bit about the significance of the Kuti Shrine here in Lagos?
Okay. Now, when we are talking about the African Shrine, it is owned, or it is built in the memory of Fela Kuti. Fela is the originator, the founder of the Afrobeat. Afrobeat is now the number one sound in the world right now. It is making the wave everywhere all over the world now. And Fela is the originator of it. Fela was an advocate, not a politician. He's always going against the politician. And he played a significant role in what we call music today in Africa. And no matter where you go in Lagos, nobody will tell you they don't know Fela. And he called his shrine before he died. He had a shrine himself. So he called his gathering, wherever he gathers, he called the place shrine. And that's why some people call it Fela Shrine or the New African Shrine, like the brother of Seun Kuti, Femi Kuti, called it. He now call it the New African Shrine. So when you go to the shrine, you will see the space dedicated to Ogun, Shango, Esu, Osoin, and the rest. So it is a significant place. And it is also like a sanctuary for a lot of people in Lagos. So over there, you can't see the police go there to harass anybody. They don't. They can't go there to harass anybody because it's like a sanctuary. What Fela had done, he sacrificed a lot of things for that place to be what it is today.
Ashe. Well, speaking on that note, in terms of creating kind of like sanctuary spaces and in relationship to the campaign as well, have you faced any resistance from religious or political groups because of the work around Esu Is Not Satan?
When we started, I will say we faced some from, of course, religious group, the Christians and all of that. There was a year we were, doing the She's Not Satan campaign, and we saw all of the convoy of a major church in Nigeria. I won't mention their name. And they passed and they saw us. The next day we saw their pastor online. People say Esu is not Satan. These are the devil. They, use us to preach, say a lot of things. And it was funny that it was now that same year after we did the campaign, maybe 2 weeks after, Professor Wole Soyinka now also gave a speech on Esu. Esu is good. Esu, he now, like he listened, like he was hearing what we were saying. And he gave a lecture, a very profound lecture on what Esu is. That Esu is a Yoruba Orisha energy that is in charge of, and that further gives us more morale to do more. And yeah, so, but for political, I don't think we have really had any issue politically in Nigeria concerning the campaign. Because even when we did the 20, and I think the one in 2018 or 2017, we actually had some government officials come. They were present and stayed with us. Yeah. Even this one that we did last year, some government officials were there. Not like they supported. They just came and see what is happening, and that's it.
So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some of your other roles. So you mentioned, and we know that you're a musician, a historian. And I wanted to ask you, what role does storytelling, whether film, music, or literature, play in shifting these narratives around Eshu or also just Ifa in general?
You see, in Nigeria as a country, for us, Onisheshe, I'm going to tell you that filmmaking, storytelling, the filmmakers played a major role to get us to where we are today, which is the bastardized place that we are today. They played a major role because back in the days, we really had an handful of Onisheshe involved in filmmaking or anything like that. We were not really involved in it. So, and when the hunter is the one telling the story will always favor the hunters. So that is what has been happening. Did a lot of movie, bastardized Isheshe, because many of them had become Christians, Muslims, or what have you. And, they bastardized Isheshe. They will even, now we even have some of them who are actually Muslims, but will play the role of Babalawo in a movie, to the extent that because people are now calling them, people see them as Babalawo in the movie, people are now calling them for consultation. So that is how deep the influence is. Just because he played a Babalawo role in a movie, outside the movie, outside everything, in real life, people are now calling him to come and do consultation for them. Even a very visible case is one who is a skunk Muslim. We all know that. But he is used to playing Babalawo in movies. BBC Yoruba, BBC, actually went to meet him during New Year to pray, to give a prayer in Isheshe way. And he put on all of the beads and all of that. So that is how influenced this movie storytelling is to our people. And that is why today, a lot of people will tell you, Ifá is bad. We have a lot of people, Yoruba people. Ifá is bad. Ifá is demonic. It is this. When you now ask them, but how did you know all of this? I saw it in a movie. I watched one movie yesterday. If you see the way they killed that lady to offer Ebo, it is bad. And you will not ask them, have you ever seen any of this in physical? In real life, no, they haven't. Some of them will tell you, I heard a story from someone. Where is that person? Can we confirm from them? Can you take us to the Babalawo or the person who did this? the story will end. So that is why it is important that we start telling our own stories. We start getting involved in all of these things. That's one of the things that pushed me to go into filmmaking also at some point. I studied film directing and all of that. And we try to do a little thing here and there, but there is a lot to do and there's little to what I can do. And so film storytelling is important. And that is what got us here. And we are trying to use it to also get us to a good place. Because now a lot of people are waking up in Africa. A lot of people are waking up and people are now seeing the facts. And also we now have even filmmakers who are now doing, sensible movies to promote Isheshe. But still, we still have the bad ones. But at least we are getting there. And that is one of the reasons why I also decided to go into music. I have loved singing since I was a child. It has always been in me. But I now decided that, okay, all of these songs, if care is not taken, many of them will go. And these are not just ordinary songs. Many of them, I did not sit down somewhere, compose them. No, they are ancient songs that explain the role of the Orisha, that tell us the attributes of the Orisha, that tells us their food, their favorite food. Okay, for example, there is a song in Egbe. Is a Ifá verse that now leads to song. Pé kíroko kọ́mọ gbélé roko, kíráyè kọ́mọ gbélé ráyè, kó mọ gba wọn ẹbọ jẹ lọ́wọ́ wọn. Adífá fún orí méjì lémere, ìgbà tí ń tilẹ̀ ọ̀run bọ̀ wáyé ẹbọ wọn ni ó wá ṣe, ó sì gbẹ́bọ níbẹ̀ orúbọ. Pé ṣé wọ́n lè ṣèrè lọ máa ṣeré, ṣé wọ́n lè ṣèrè lọ máa ṣeré. Ogún orógbó. Ogún orógbó is 20 bitter kolas. Ọgbọ̀n obì máa ṣeré 30 kola nuts. Òbúkọ bẹ́lẹ́jẹ́ máa ṣe 1 matured e-goat. These are part of the things you can use to feed Egbe. Àkùkọ gàgàrà máa ṣeré, a big rooster. Ó fú lójú pẹ̀lẹ́kọ máa ṣeré. Ekuru means pudding that you make with beans, ekuru, and cornmeal, eko. So all of these, when you now listen to the song, even if you don't know anything about the Orisha initially, you don't know, you are just learning about Egbe, that alone already told you, or if you have Obi, you have Orogbo, and you have maybe a rooster, or even if you don't have any of that, you have just Obi and Orogbo, you are good to feed your Egbe. That's the importance of all of these songs. So that is why I was okay, let's start documenting all of these things. So, and that is why I don't really like to call myself a musician. I prefer an archive keeper because all of this, we keep them and they are there.
I like that you mentioned Egbe and thinking about kind of their role in Ifá as well. Can you talk a little bit about Egbe?
So when we talk about Egbe are like our spiritual group in heaven. Before we know that, I'm a child of Ogun, or my Orisha is Shango, the first thing we know is our Egbe. Because they've been in existence, they've been part of our life even before we get here. Before we know our mother, our father, or anything. Before we were born, before we were conceived at all. Before they get pregnant of us at all. They've been a very significant part of us. And so we believe in Yoruba land that the way we operate on earth is also the same way they operate in Odeorun, in heaven. Bá ṣe ń ṣe láyé ni wọ́n ń ṣe lọ́run. The way we do here is also the way they do there. If we give birth to a newborn baby now, we will be happy. There will be celebration and all of that. They will be crying because they just lost their soul. And when someone dies here, we will be crying and all of that. They are going to be welcoming back the person with Ogunleni Erinwo Agogo. That is 820 Agogo drums. And Eta Leni Igbeje 1,430 drums. That's what they will be beating. So imagine how massive the celebration is that they will be using to welcome the soul back. Egun lẹ́rìnwó agogo, ẹ̀tàlélẹ́gbèje ìpèsè ni wọ́n fi ń pe àrágbérí lọ́run kò wá. So that is what they do. And, that's the circle. As we come, they are crying. As we go, we are crying, they are celebrating. And before we come to earth, we had already belonged to a group. Everybody on earth has Egbe. It is just different from each other. One is stronger than the other, just like we have it on earth here. Some groups are rich, some are influential, some are powerful, some are more important than the other. That is how they also do in heaven. So when we are there and we want to come to earth, we are going to tell them, okay, I'm going to earth. Some people will say, I will go and just spend a little time. Some people, I'm going. Some people will even leave a spouse over there. And I'm just going to see what's going on there, and I'll be back before you know it. And if they don't come, because when we are now coming, there is a tree that we embrace, the tree of forgetfulness. Once we embrace the tree, we will forget everything that we've said. Why do we embrace this tree? Is to make the world interesting. When you come, you don't remember anything. It's good. That's when we start discovering ourselves again, trying to know where we are going, trying to know where we belong. The spouse that you left there might not have patience and start looking for you. Come there. That's where you go, spiritual husband, spiritual wife. So all of these things, that is the role of Egbe. Egbe are there to support us if we know how to channel their energy towards something positive. And if we don't know how to, they can also influence us negatively.
You are the founder of the World of Ifá.
Yes.
And you describe this as a way to explore how Ifá can serve as a source of solutions to human tribulations. Yeah. Can you give some examples of how Ifá teachings might address some of the challenges we're currently facing as a world?
In the world now, when we will realize that our generation, we are losing the act of patience. Everybody is angry. Everybody's blood is boiling. We want to vent. We want to rant. We want to get mad. We want to be angry and all of that. And if you look at the teaching of Ifá, Ifá says that Inú bíbí ninja mọ bí ọmọ ti wá. Àjàngílà ènìyàn ní fira rẹ̀ hàn. Òtúgbèsè rẹ̀ dé orúkọ ní sọni. Ifá says that excessive anger will only show the kind of upbringing that you have. And it will make people look at you, this person does not come from a good place. And a radical, a violent person, they cannot hide their nature for a very long time before you start seeing it in them. So Ifá already teaches us that excessive anger, getting angry unnecessarily and all of that is not going to lead us to anything positive. These are part of the teachings of Ifá. Ifá also teaches against suicide. Má bínú pokùn sóra rẹ, kiri ajé tó ń wá o kó lè bá tẹ̀ ọ́ lọ́wọ́. It means when you commit suicide, you are only directing or transferring your pain to other people. And it is not going to help anybody. So that is why, because everybody has one blessing or the other that is coming their way. Not knowing when the blessing is coming is why we makes us restless. But at the end of the day, somehow it will come. So be patient. So that is why you will see that major teaching in Ifá the most is Iwakpele. Those who have Iwakpele, who practice Iwakpele, already have the problems of their life solved by 50%. Because the major problem, for example, if someone should get mad at you now or get you angry or try to make you react negatively, and you just remember the act of Iwakpele and you stay calm, your reaction that you saved might have saved you a lot of problems. So you might react and you misbehave and you do something that you're not supposed to do, and it is going to turn out wolf. So these are the teaching of Ifá. Ifá is not general. It is a personal part. But at the same time, there are some teaching in Ifá that can be generalized, that we can pick from and use it to teach generally for the whole world. So there are a lot, and also not even morality alone, also medicine. There are a lot of medicine in Ifá that if we listen to the Odu, when we break it down, you will realize, Ifá is talking about the medicine for childbearing here, or the medicine for even anti-aging. A lot of these things are in Ifá. I have a class that I'm running now, Ifá for beginners, that I started, is it 2 years ago or so? So now we are at the advanced stage where the only thing we do now is Ifá interpretation. Start from Ejogbe to Ofunshe. So we are already in it. And we take each Odu, I will break it down from the Oluwo to everything that is included in it, to the ebo materials and everything. So all this way, people will understand that all of these verses are not just poets. They're not just proverbs, they're not just poetry. They are deep messages that if we break it down, it will help the world. And that is how Ifá can actually mend our broken world and can help us.
For organizers or people who are like in political movement, who sometimes tap into their anger as a way to do the political work, you know what I mean? I guess, how would you recommend they incorporate Ifá teachings? You see, because it can be hard, I think, sometimes.
Yes. But even in Ogbe Ogunda, Ifá says, Ki eni ma binu kinu, keni ma ba jija kija. Keni ma jija kija, keni ma ba jebi kebi. Ifá does not say you will not get angry. Ifá does not say you will not get mad. Ifá does not say you will not fight. But excessively is what Ifá is against. That's why Ifá says, Kenema binu kinu, do not get angry excessively. Because if you get angry excessively, you are going to fight excessively. And when you fight excessively, you are going to be blamed unnecessarily by people. So balance. Then when you can keep it balanced. Because even in Ifá, in Ogundameji, Ifá also said it that, this person, you need to talk. You are too cool. You are too gentle. So you will not realize, Ifá, what do you want me to do? Should I fight or not fight? Because some Ifá will tell you, don't fight. Another one will tell you, you need to fight. Because in Ogundameji, Ifá say, Ogundaji, Baba, awo ìbọn ló díá fún bọn. Ìbọn ń bẹ láàrin èdìdì, ń bẹ láàrin ọ̀tá ọmọ aráyé, ìbọn alóhun ti ṣẹbọ, Ògúndájì, òun rágbò. It means gun. Ifá described the person as a gun. That if the gun does not open his mouth to talk, people will just take it as a toy. But when the guns open his mouth, people, no, don't touch him. But can the gun start shooting itself? People will be the one to finger the gun. So that is why when it is necessary to talk moderately. React moderately, not excessively. That is how you do it.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point because there's so many things in the world right now that are causing anger, rage, depression, etc. And I think what you're saying is a really important distinction in terms of how we can navigate these times in a way that makes it possible for our communities to organize long term, where it's being strategic about when we say something or organize for something or against something, right? And then knowing, especially if there are those of us who are initiated into Ifá, who are in these organizations, knowing maybe what our strengths are.
Yes.
And then perhaps there are other organizations or movements that are using these tools more broadly and can have a bigger bird's eye view of how to engage.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. So this is kind of taking us to more of a diaspora view. But many in the diaspora feel that there is a strong pull towards African spiritual traditions, but don't always know where to start. Thinking about, past and present, what's your vision, or where do you think the vision or the future of Ifá is, like both in Nigeria and in the diaspora?
It is a mixed feeling. Whenever I go on Facebook now, I am always living with mixed feelings. I see people who are genuinely, doing good with Ifá, taking Ifá to the next level, and I'm like, okay, I think the future of Ifá is going to be good. And once I just scroll a little bit, I see others again. I'm like, man. But at the end of the day, I realize that is also the balance. There will be good, there will be bad. So I just conclude, those who are doing it and practicing it right will continue to do it right. And they will always see the result. And those are the people that will continue to fight, not even fight, that will continue to project Ifá in a good light for the world to see that this is one of the only religion that ever existed without any form of crusade or evangelism or, forcing people to believe. And this is a religion that they've even tried to kill, tried to eradicate, but still find its way to travel all over the world. So I feel the future of Ifá is going to be what it's going to be. The most important thing is, are you practicing it well? You continue to do that. Focus on that. Because if you look at the bigger part where people are doing it bad, you will get discouraged. So, just focus on, okay, I'm doing it right, and I'll continue to do it right.
One of the traditions that we have on this podcast is asking our guests if you would be willing to offer a final blessing, prayer, or affirmation to folks who are listening, something that they can carry with them after this episode.
Yes. So I am going to offer an esoteric word from Odu Ifá Okoran. And this is going to be a blessing, like a iwure, or a blessing. Everybody can just continue to say Ashe. And it is, Ifá ní ọyẹ́ ni ó sun àrá, kúrúkúrú ní ọ̀tá mọ̀nàmọ́ná, akọ àparò, abo àparò, wọn ò lágbe lórí ṣaraṣara, adé afọlọ́fin, ọlọ́fin run tẹ́, wọ́n ní ó gbọ́dọ̀ kú tẹ́, ọ̀nàṣẹ́ aya rẹ̀ ń ṣọ́ gbogbo àrùn, wọ́n ní ó gbọ́dọ̀ kú àrùn ẹ̀gọ́, ọ̀kan bí ọmọ rẹ̀ ń fọ rẹ́gẹ́dẹ́, wọ́n ní èèfọ̀ rẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ kú, onídúdú gba dúdú, onípupa gba pupa, aláyìnrín gba yìnrín, bárakpẹ̀tù, ò bá mọ̀mọ́ kó kú ó karùn lọ́wọ́, bárakpẹ̀tù. That prayer, that iwure verse is talking about how we have a lot of negative forces, disease, death, sickness, and all of that woven around the world right now. And may Olodumare help us to take away any form of negative forces away from our life and from all of the listeners' life. May you not have reason to be bedridden. May Olodumare give you sound health, success, blessing, progress, and all the good things of life. Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for joining us today on Spirit and Liberation, brought to you by the Latinx Therapist Action Network. We are honored to have shared this conversation with Ifá Benushola Awomide Popola, exploring the power of Ifá, the reclamation of Esu, and the vital connections between the diaspora and the African continent. If today's discussion resonated with you, we encourage you to stay connected, follow Owomide's journey, Engage with the Esu Is Not Satan campaign and continue deepening your relationship with African spiritual traditions in ways that are intentional, aligned, and rooted in community. Also, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone in your circle. Spirit and Liberation is hosted by Francisca Porchas Coronado and Jeanette Charles Marquez. Today's episode was produced and edited by Phil Circus.